Hey YouTube, it's Denise here, aka West Coast Rust, coming at you. Today's Monday, February 18th, and just coming on here to give a little update. No surgery date yet. Still hopeful that I'll hear something this week. So, we'll see when the insurance comes back and how quick they are at the office to get back to me. Today's been an interesting day, and this last week was a tough week for me. One of my main goals of this video is to talk a little bit about the emotional side of this whole journey that I'm taking, because I want to remember where I'm coming from, and I don't want to ever be one of those folks who forgets what it feels like to have people talk about you, or forgets what it's like to not be able to climb a flight of stairs, or, fit into a normal size clothes, or any of that kind of thing. And also, I wanted to talk about an issue that I've been having recently in my personal life, not on my YouTube life, but, and also to talk about this whole bridging the gap of our private lives and our more public lives that we have here on YouTube. So first, this weekend, not this last weekend, but the weekend before, I had some family stay over briefly, and we were having a particularly difficult weekend with my son, and it's very difficult to hear repetitive behaviors over and over and over again and things like that. And for family who aren't around much, it must seem like we control everything our son does, pretty much. And sometimes that's true, because kids on the autism spectrum, some lack executive functioning, which is the ability to remember the steps to do things that we do normally. Like, if we're going to go outside and it's wet, we know we need to get our coat on, and so we would walk over and get our coat. But my son gets sidetracked very easy, and so it's constantly go get your shoes by the stove, or go get your coat off of the chair, and you might have to say it 10 times. And so, you can imagine that at the end of a day, you're a little bit tired of that. And then some have a lot of auditory stuff, whether they stutter or they say certain sounds over and over again or something like that. My son is graduating out of a little bit of that, to where his repetitive behaviors are often like clapping, hand clapping, and saying certain phrases and things like that. And it gets very tiring sometimes. And so my husband and I often have to take shifts, like who's gonna play with him right now, because neither one of us can handle, all day long, every day of that. But I digress. So some family came over. They hadn't seen him in a while, and he always gets very amped when he sees them, and it's great, but it also makes his tics come out a lot worse, and it makes it more difficult for mom and dad to be able to handle those repetitive things. So, so I was getting on him pretty good, apparently, and one of my older sisters said that she didn't like either something that I had said to him, or how I was controlling everything, and so she basically told me not to talk to him in the way I was talking to him or something. And, people never like to be told how to mess with their kids, how to parent their children, and especially in their own home. And so that didn't go over very well with me, and I felt like lashing back, which I did a little bit, and I'm not proud of. But, so what I'm getting at when I talk about that story is we're all human, and the fat side of me is just part of who I am, and it makes up the other parts of me, which not everyone on here gets to see necessarily, because they're more, of my private life, but they're things that are still very important in my journey, in my struggles every day, and in my emotional struggles, which I think is probably the greatest struggle that we all have, that need to lose this weight and become more healthy. So I don't know if others are having this problem, but I would love to hear if some are, and how they deal with that bridging of the gap of, we come on here and we tell our stories and we talk about our struggles and our successes in the weeks. And but my family, who most of them are not close to me, they don't see me every day or anything like that. I've come to the realization after this altercation that they don't really know me. I mean, I might have grown up for 16 years with my sister, and I don't feel like she really knows me as anything but her little sister. She doesn't know what I go through every day. She doesn't know the difficulties or the successes. And some of that's my fault because I haven't opened up to her and told her how life is for me. I don't, These videos are always really serious a lot of times, and I'm sorry about that, but it's a very real problem. How do you bridge this support system that we get here on YouTube into the real world? How do we, I'm thankful that they have a psychologist in our program at Samaritan, but at the same time, I'm not really sure. If I know there's an issue there, I don't really know what can be done, because I've never been in therapy, but I don't want to continue an emotional cycle of eating poorly, and then I don't want daily stresses to be the reason why I falter now or after surgery. And I know that I'm at risk of this not being successful for that reason. Because I admitted to the psychologist that, I've gotten bored with other diets, and so I've quit them. And I was tired of eating the same thing over and over and over again. And I know that some of that's necessary for this, weight loss surgery too. But I don't know. Who really knows us? Obviously, I've admitted in previous videos that some things my husband doesn't even know about my struggles with my weight, and I know my sisters certainly don't understand some of what I'm going through, and why at times, even in this journey right now, I can maybe have a shorter fuse than normal. And is it worth the time to explain to somebody, look, I'm stressing out, maybe it's work, or it's the kids, or it's the husband, or it's just the guy who cut you off on the freeway. But is it really worth it to tell these folks what's going on in your life? Do they really want to know? And sometimes I think the answer is no. Sometimes I think family don't really want to hear what's going on. They want to, I don't know. So anyway, I'm just wondering out there, how do we get folks to really know us? They can't be in our minds. They can't be in our skin. So how do we bridge the gap? How do you bridge the gap? What do you do when you're feeling like people just aren't understanding where you're coming from or the struggle that you're having at the moment? What do you do? And I'm going to have to think about what I'm going to do. I've already apologized to my sister. She held it in for a couple of days before she let me know how really mad she was at me. And then, unfortunately, she lashed out for a lot of other things. So we've come to an agreement that when she doesn't like some of the things that I'm saying or doing, she's going to pick one or two and talk to me about them, as opposed to saving it all up for one big blow up. I don't think that's healthy for anyone, and it's certainly not healthy for me. So, with that being said, I hope that we can all be emotionally healthy through this and really think about why we're putting things in our bodies that we shouldn't, and then we're scared of that scale afterwards. And so that's my update. That's what's going on. That's what's up with Denise. And I hope I can figure some of this out soon. And Lord knows I need a surgery date soon to get started, at least on that portion. So have a great night. Be well. And don't forget to tell those you love that you love them. Good night.